Another awesome episode of Lucha Underground, Season 2, Episode 4, Cierro Miedo. Welcome to Slam Jam, bitch. Welcome back, everyone. This is Jason, a.k.a. J-Bone of the Ramblin' About Wrestling podcast, right here to bring you my review of Episode 4 from Season 2, Lucha Underground. It kicks off with Ivelisse busting into Katrina's office. Great segment. Just how they film these. It just makes me so proud to be a fan of this show. It's so different from everything else. It's such a perfect fit for the El Rey network, because you see how they promote stuff. Like, even the commercials saying, oh, this is what's going on this weekend, this special and these movies. And you could just tell it just all fits like a glove on this network. It's so awesome. Well, to sum it up, Ivelisse asks Katrina for a chance to get her Trios championships back. And Ivelisse is like, no, it's not going to be that easy. But there's another Trios group that wants a chance at that too, so you're going to have to fight them first. And we find out that it's Chavo Guerrero. Great to see him back. Great in-ring veteran, along with the crew. The remaining members of the crew, because Bale was killed last year, remember? It's Cortez Castro, a.k.a. Officer Reyes, and Cisco. So yeah, Angelico and Ivelisse and Son of Havoc against those three. And this is just a great match. And like I said, great to see Chavo in the ring again. It's always good to see Chavo. The guy's always putting on a great performance. But the former Trios champions get one up on him. And the highlight of this one, and you could say all don't get me wrong, Ivelisse, Son of Havoc, and Angelico all bring something special to their matches together. And they're working great together, especially after all this stuff from the first episode where they had to fight each other. So they beat him, but Angelico, he just stands out. Well, especially because of his, lime green outfit, but which is badass, by the way. It's got the Lucha Underground, symbol on it. It's just great. He beats him with a double stomp, basically the same as Finn Balor's move. I can't remember what it's called, but anyways, they beat him, and then Chavo's starting to argue with the crew, like, blaming them or, for losing. Then all of a sudden, Tejano gets in the ring, surprises them all, and attacks them. And of course, he gets a one-up on the crew, and Chavo slips away and, doesn't get hurt at all. So I got a feeling we're going to see Tejano and Chavo going at it. Which, we got a taste of that last season. This is certainly going to continue now with Tejano coming back. Great to see him. And whereas last year, he was such a heel when he was having his feud against Alberto Del Rio, and now everybody loves him. It's just funny how, things are changing in the temple constantly. But it's good, though. It's, the rivalries are fresh. It's very exciting. So we'll see that soon. Then we see the Johnny Mundo promo, how he was like not treated as well as he should have been in his match against Alberto El Patron Del Rio. Because he was the first match of the Ultima Lucha, saying that he should have headlined it. Well, he is great, and he does bring something really special to this brand. So yeah, I can totally see his argument there. But and obviously he wants that championship, but it looks like he's gonna have to go through Cage first. And we see something a little later as well. Then we see a backstage segment with Joey Ryan confronting a beaten down Castro, one half of the crew. And to sum the whole thing up, he tells him, well, I'm going to have my first match now, and you can watch me, and get some tips on really how to wrestle, and call it, great police work, because I'm going to get the job done, and oh man, just seeing Joey Ryan in this, and I'm going to segue off of this just for a second. My introduction, along with many other wrestling fans, to Joey Ryan was in TNA with the whole gut check thing. And I really liked him then, And he really showed his, A, his in-ring quality, and B, his mic skills. He's just bubbling over with charisma. He's so good. And just from his in-ring to his, backstage segments on Lucha Underground here just shows that even more, and how he's evolved over the last, few years since then. So Joey Ryan has his first match, and he comes out. He gets a pretty decent pop. This is a nice surprise for the Temple and their fans. And then his opponent gets introduced. Cage, of all people for him to, because I'm thinking, okay, he's probably going to be wrestling, no offense to these guys, but he's probably going to wrestle someone like Famous B or something, and he's going to get an easy win. It's his debut. No. His first opponent is friggin' Cage. Oh my God. Cage it was a good match. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't a squash match at all. Joey Ryan did great, but he didn't win. Cage just overpowered him. And, but it was interesting is showing, because as the match went on, he got more and more winded, and listening to Stryker and, Vampiro discuss this, it was even more interesting, because they're like, oh, maybe that's how you beat him. Because, it's like, how do you beat a monster like Cage, So Cage beats him. Then, as Cage is celebrating in the ring, Mundo sneaks up from behind and attacks him. Hits him with a wicked spear. Man, that spear he uses week after week gets better and better. Dare I say it, even rivals certain Samoan from WWE. I'll let you guess who I'm talking about. So he spears him, and he says, "Welcome to Slam Jam, bitch." Oh, I laughed so hard. I was like, Slam Jam? I was like, okay. I thought it was great, Mundo's, like I've said in other videos I've done on Lucha Underground, conversations involving Johnny Mundo. He's one of my favorites, and he's getting better and better. That was one of the things that maybe he didn't do quite as well in the WWE. But man, he is completely reinventing himself in Lucha Underground, especially this second season. Well, then Cage retaliates and ends up hitting him with a Weapons X, and that move is one of the most brutal moves I've ever seen. So then it gets announced. First we get the segment of Rey Mysterio sparring with Azteca, and they do a little backstory on Dario Cueto and how he came to be with the temple and everything, saying that as the old Azteca got with Cueto's dad, they covered a lot in this, so if I skip something, I apologize. I'm trying to sum it up here. How they got together and tried to find a way to get all seven Aztec tribes to fight. Well, and then somehow Dario Cueto goes to the dark side, and somehow something to the effect of he sacrificed his son, and then a evil god possessed him, and that became Matanza. So I thought that was his brother. Is it his son or is it his brother? I'm a little confused there, but nonetheless, the story's great. And how they're going to intertwine this as far as like an Aztec tribal history, rivalry, whatever you want to call it, mixed that with like the FBI or cops or whatever going after Dario Cueto. I have a feeling this is all like going to come to a head either at the end of the season or early next season, somehow, some way. This is just growing by the episode. It's crazy. I love it. At the end of the conversation he has with Azteca, he's like, we have to figure out a way to unite the 7 tribes. And then we get the announcement of Cage versus Mundo is going to be the main event in next week. So episode 5, main event, Cage versus Mundo. Oh, it's going to be so awesome. Then we get the main event of this episode, Prince Puma versus Pentagon Jr. And this just had that big match feel to it, totally. And the crowd was pretty split on this one. Kind of surprised. A lot of Puma fans, a lot of Pentagon Jr. fans, because Pentagon Jr. is that he's like the heel, but he's like that riding that gray line because he's really popular at the same time because of everything, because he earned that respect at the end of last season. So fans love him too. Pretty well even match. And then I apologize, I don't know what you call that move at the end where Pentagon Jr. has him up. It's that move that Daniel Bryan always used to do, where you stand on the calves and then bring them back over your head, and then he brought them backwards almost into like a submission, and then pinned them. But then right at the end of the pin, Puma extended his like neck and shoulders and got his shoulders up, and like ended up getting the pin on Pentagon Jr. because his shoulders were down in the process of doing that move. Crazy, absolutely crazy. So whereas Pentagon Jr. is like, oh yeah, I won the match. No, dude, you lost, And side note to that, watching everybody's faces, especially Vampiro. Vampiro, when he was calling this match, he was pretty neutral. He wasn't like all Pentagon or all Puma. Whereas you would have thought, because, Pentagon Jr. is his boy, even though he's not, because he's going through therapy and he doesn't want to talk about it and all that. Excuse me. He was calling it down the middle, It wasn't really going either way with it as far as who he was rooting for or, constructive criticizing or whatever. But then when Pentagon Jr. lost the match, he was like, oh, and you could see him looking over at Vampiro, and Vampiro's just looking disappointed at him, like really disappointed. Like, man, you messed up, you know. So it's gonna be interesting. I could totally see something down the road where you see a backstage segment of Vampiro confronting Pentagon Jr., kind of like how Conan used to do with Prince Puma, something like that. I can see that happening. We'll have to see if that happens, you know. Or is Vampiro going to avoid Pentagon Jr. as much as possible, and then, you know, something blows up at the end of the season? Who knows? But I can't wait to see what else happens. So that's the last match, but the last segment of the episode is Sexy Star. Is like, this is another continuation, another segment that we saw a little snippet of in the season 2 trailer, where she's like, you know, looking behind her, and she's, you know, slow-mo, like running down the hallway, terrified, running for her life, trying to get away from something. Well, obviously she's escaping from Marty the Moth, wherever they are. Looked like she was, you know, I don't know if this was at the temple or some other part of the temple where they had her hidden or something. It was weird. But nonetheless, she ran into the Mac, Willie Mac. And he was like, whoa, it's okay, you know. Who did this to you? And she's like, Moth. And he's like, oh, the Moth, oh, kill him. And she's like, no, not him. Her. And as she's saying her, she points over his shoulder, and they do this like zoom in on his face, and it does like the whole like strobe thing, and it was like, whoa. So obviously somewhere in the next episode or two, we're going to get the reveal of who Marty the Moth's sister is, and who's like terrorizing Sexy Star. So I can't wait to see that. And that's where this episode ends. Tremendous action, great vignettes, great promos. Another home run with Lucha Underground. Put it in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Tell me what your favorite part of the season is so far. You know, is it a match? Is it a promo? Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching.